Welcome to Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Gerry, Ricken, and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you retire with purpose and live with joy. Find more information, including how to reach the team, in today's show notes. Now, Kickin with the Rickens, powered by Ricken Financial.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kickin with the Rickens podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost and licensed insurance professional Gerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. Heidi, Gerry, let's go to class, man. Take me to school. We're going to talk about Retirement 101 this weekend, and we're going to cover Social Security versus a pension, an annuity, Medicare versus Medicaid. Let's talk about all that, but let's kick it off here by talking about a 401k versus an IRA in Retirement 101.
A lot of people have a lot of money saved in 401ks or 403bs or TSP plans. Those
457s or
those employer-sponsored plans. So at the end of the day, the tax status is not going to be different from a traditional IRA or 401k or 403b or any of those other plans. But we did want to talk about the differences between the two, because if your money is in an IRA versus, one of your employer-sponsored plans, the money is treated a little bit differently, and how much you can contribute to it is a little different. And,
what you can invest in.
Exactly. So we thought we'd kind of break it down a little bit for you. Those employer-sponsored plans, you can contribute a decent amount of money into them while you're working. And to the effect of, if you're 50 years or older, then right now you can contribute about a little over $30,000 a year into that.
It's $31,000 for 2025.
Keep in mind, these numbers are always going to be changing because they're dictated by the IRS. So as we all know, the only constant in tax law is change.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. But you can put a significant amount of money in a 401k or an employer-sponsored plan for your future, versus if you have an IRA, you're capped out at $8,000 if you're the same age. So not as much juice in the turnip as my grandpa would have said. You can't put as much away for the future in those two. That's just the beginning of the differences while you're working, because you're socking money away for the future in these plans for one reason, so you can accumulate your nest egg for the future. So what's going to be the differences when it comes to your investments, Gerry?
When you're in a 401k, you have maybe 10 to 20 mutual fund type options. A lot of those are target funds where they blend funds together based upon your targeted retirement date, but you're very limited in what you can do and how you can invest when you're in the 401k environment. In an IRA, the world is your oyster. You can invest in almost anything imaginable, even real estate, commodities, gold, silver, all those types of things that aren't otherwise available in 401k. So it just widens the broad spectrum of investment opportunities when you convert from a 401k to an IRA. And when can you do that, honey?
Well, when you're separated from your employer, your funds are yours and you're free to do with them what you please. So at any point in time, if you leave a job, you can take that money that's in your employer-sponsored plan and convert it to an IRA. What does that mean? If it's sitting in a 401k, 403b, TSP plan, something like that, you can convert it from that to an IRA without any form of taxation. So that can happen if you separate from your employer, or if you're over the age of 59 and a half and the plan allows it, then you can get full control by moving it from your employer-sponsored plan to your own IRA as well.
And we've seen multiple plans that offer that at 59 and a half to move your entire balance. Some plans, you'll get to remove what you contributed. Some plans won't allow you to move anything, but most plans do allow you to move from that 401k employer-sponsored plan to your own IRA, so you can be truly in charge of that. The other opportunity there too is getting more professional management and hands-on management of that account, because in your 401k, you do have a manager out there. You have a financial planner out there, actually a financial manager, but most people have never spoken to that person because they're on the other end of an 800 number. You've never met them. but occasionally you can call in and find whoever that is, and it's probably a pool of people, and maybe talk about your allocations. But that's about as far as it goes when it comes to any management of a 401k. With an IRA, you can work with Heidi and I, and actually we will let you know everything that's available out there for you to meet your risk tolerance.
Yeah. So if you're sitting here, maybe you have or you haven't met with whoever's helping you manage that 401k, but all you have is your employer sponsored plan and you don't have a plan.
It's called a plan. But
it's called an employer sponsored plan, but really it's just an investment. You've just socked money away into it for the future, but you don't have a plan of what you're going to do with it. That's the point in time you need to be talking to a financial advisor who can step in and assist you in planning proactively for your financial future. So if all you have is some investments right now and you don't even, maybe you do fully understand them, maybe you don't fully understand them, but you don't have a plan for what to do with them in the future, that's when someone like us can step in and assist you in putting together a financial plan for the future. So if you're interested in that, we'd love to take you through the purpose approach, where we look at your 401ks, your 403bs, your TSP plans. Maybe you do have some old IRAs too. And we put the plan in place for how those monies are going to help you in your financial future, because you worked really hard for them. It's time for them to work for you for your retirement. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, we'd love to talk to you.
You know, a lot of people ask about the tax planning or the tax implications of a 401k versus an IRA. And we've talked about this in the past too. There is an opportunity when you are taking required minimum distributions. That's the amount that the IRS dictates you to take out of these plans when you turn a certain age. You can't take advantage of eliminating some of that from taxable income if it is in a 401k. It has to be an IRA form for you to take a qualified charitable distribution. So if you're charitably inclined, you really need to talk to us about what that really means so you can eliminate or lower your taxation in retirement.
You may have some 401ks or 403bs or something like that hanging around. And a lot of people might say, hey, there's pretty low fees to keep these things around, so we're going to hang on to them. But you might be missing out on some tax opportunity here.
And let's talk about some Roth opportunities that could help with our tax strategies.
So we mentioned the difference between a 401k and an IRA. And one thing we failed to talk about were the different tax classifications that you could have within your IRA portfolio or your employer-sponsored plan portfolio. So there's two basic differences. One is called a Roth and the other is called a traditional.
The Roth option is a way to optimize your overall tax strategy. And when I say optimize, well, here's what I'm talking about. You can take after-tax money, put it into the Roth option. It grows tax-free. And when you take the money out of that account,
as long as you're over the age of 59 and a half and it's been in Roth form for 5 years,
it will be tax-free. The 401k world out there originally started with just the traditional option. There were no Roth options out there.
And the traditional option, as you may or may not be aware, is when you contribute to your traditional funds, if it's in your employer-sponsored plan, you get a little bit of a tax break. So it's pre-tax money that goes in there. And then over the course of time, it's going to have growth and compounded interest. And in the future, when you pull that money out, all of it becomes taxable to you at whatever your tax rate is at the point in time that you make those withdrawals.
At ordinary income tax rates, which are higher than capital gains rates.
And, you know, those traditional funds are the ones where you have your required minimum distributions that have to come out. So if you're born 1960 or thereafter at age 75, the IRS will dictate how much money has to come out so you can pay the tax on that. If you're born before 60, 73 is going to be that, you know, key age for you where you're going to have to take some money out of that. But sorry, just thought I'd mention that's what traditional is. But, you know, we were mentioning something else.
Absolutely. Traditional versus Roth. When you look at your 401k account, and early on in as I said, early on in the 401k world, there wasn't a Roth option. It wasn't until Congress changed that rule that we had the Roth option. Now we have a Roth option in every 401k in existence. So everyone should actually examine that to see if it's the best option for you. And when you look at that, you want to ask yourself, is it better for me to pay a little bit of tax now and not pay tax on any of the growth in the future? Or do I want a little bit of a tax break now and then I pay tax on the entire growth of the future. I prefer, if it's my account, to use the Roth option, because paying taxes now, we don't know what taxes are going to be in the future. We know we have a big deficit in this country and we have low tax rates now, but nothing is permanent in tax law. The only constant is change in tax law. I'd like to see a raise of hands of anyone who thinks that taxes are going to be decreased in the future for the rest of our lives. Whenever I ask that in front of an audience, no one raises their hand. Everyone truly does believe that eventually we're going to see higher taxes, and higher taxes means higher taxes on the money you're going to be pulling out of those traditional accounts.
And I want to talk about a couple common misconceptions here, because as we prepare the tax returns for our clients and we talk through, tax strategy, there is some misinformation out here. So there's a difference between a Roth 401k or employer-sponsored plan and a Roth IRA. And the biggest difference between the two is dictated by the IRS, okay? So if you have your own IRA, Roth IRA, and you want to contribute to that, you're subject to income limitations if you want to contribute to that by the IRS. If you have a Roth option in your employer-sponsored plan, there are no income limitations. As of now in our tax law, there are no income limitations. If you have the option in your employer-sponsored plan, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You can put your contributions into your Roth at your employer-sponsored plan. If you know what I'm talking about, or you have some questions about this because you don't know what I'm talking about, we would love to look at your plan and help you figure out if those income limitations are going to affect you or not, or how you might be able to save for your future. But I do want to get ahead of that part of the story, because so many people think, oh, I make too much money, I can't put money in my Roth at work. Well, it doesn't matter how much money you make in this world. If you have a Roth option at work, you are eligible to contribute to that Roth. Your employer will put their money in your traditional if they're going to match that money, but your money can go into the Roth.
And not only that, but you can put money in the Roth and without income limitations. And if you're over the age of 50 for 2025, you can put $31,000 into that Roth account in your 401k. But if you have a Roth IRA, the limit is $8,000.
So there are a few little differences when it comes to, whether it's an employer-sponsored plan or an IRA when we're talking Roth or traditional. But at the end of the day, here's the gist. Traditional funds are going to cost more tax in the future because we have to pay tax on the growth. Roth funds, you pay tax on the investment at the beginning, not on the growth. And if it can grow tax deferred and be pulled out tax-free, at the end of the day, more likely than not, you're probably going to be spending less in taxation if you start off with a Roth versus a traditional. That's really the gist. But every single person we meet is going to have a different answer whether Roth or traditional makes sense for them. So let's chat and see what makes sense for you.
I liken it to harvesting. Growing up in Kansas, the wheat harvest was during the summer. And would you rather pay tax on the seed that you planted or the harvest that you receive in the summer? Same thing with the corn country around here. Would you rather pay tax on the seeds of corn that you put versus the corn that you harvest about this time of year? So if you'd like to talk to us about the whole taxation and what Roth means versus traditional, all the limitations out there, what's really fitting in your wheelhouse from a tax planning perspective, call us at 314-207-6211, or just look at rickenfinancial.com, reach out to us, and we'd love to have that chat.
Heidi, Gerry, thank you. Thank you for the education and the information. Before we get out of here, take us home.
Every day is a holiday.
Life is short. Laugh hard.
This has been Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.